No, it's not live stream. We're recording this so that we can put it on the website. So if anyone wants to go back and watch this, they can have access to it. So we are recording, but no, we're not live streaming. We are recording. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I am pleasantly surprised at how many people are here. So thank you for taking time out of your day to be here to discuss Main Street and what that means for Goddard and our downtown. Before we jump into this, because there are so many of you, I want to make sure that we have enough time to get through the slides and then go over questions. I will briefly introduce myself, and then if there's enough time at the end, we can go around the room and do introductions as well. Again, my name is Ryan Schrack. I serve as the Deputy City Administrator here with Goddard. My background with Main Street goes back to the early 2010s. When I worked for the state of Indiana, one of the responsibilities that we had was administering the state program within the state of Indiana. I was part of regional field staff and worked with communities in a 15-county region on a whole host of community economic development projects, including Main Street. So from there, previous to working here in Goddard, I was with the City of Valley Center and helped them start a Main Street group, and they are now a designated community with the Kansas Main Street program. So I've gone through this process multiple times, and I'm excited to get it going here in Goddard. So with that being the case, we're going to jump right into this. So a little bit of background about the Main Street movement. So first we have to go back to 1977. So as you may know, in 1977, Star Wars was in the movie theaters and Main Streets were in trouble across the country. At that time, prior to that, over the course of 20 to 30 years, you had an outflux of businesses and people from downtowns in large and small communities across the nation. You had the creation of new office parks, the creations of strip malls and large mall facilities in largely suburban areas in communities across the nation. And so the National Trust for Historic Preservation in 1977 wanted to do something to change this. They said, how are we going to save our historic downtowns? And so a pilot program was launched in 1977 by the National Trust that involved 3 communities, one in Indiana, one in South Dakota, and one in Illinois. And between 1977 and 1980, the National Trust worked with these 3 communities on figuring out, okay, what is a good model, what is a way that we can reinvest in our historic downtowns? And as a result of that, it was a successful experiment in all 3 communities, so successful that the National Trust created the National Main Street Center in 1980. Headquartered in Chicago, it's still headquartered there today, but with the creation of the National Main Street Center in 1980, this led to the creation of state coordinating programs and designations for local communities across the country, and created strategies and best practices for communities to use in revitalizing their downtown. In 2013, the National Main Street Center became an independent subsidiary of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. With that move, it gave them a greater degree of flexibility to operate independently. This included some rebranding, such as a name change in 2015. They changed it to Main Street America, which is how they're known today. This is their logo. And you can see the investment and the impact that Main Street America has had in communities across the country since 1980. With over $115 billion invested in locally reinvested, the rehabilitation of thousands of historic buildings, the creation of jobs, and then creation of new businesses as well, in over 2,000 communities. And then also to note that today there are 41 states, including Kansas, that have designated coordinating programs with Main Street America. And we'll talk more about Kansas Main Street program here in a little bit. I'm more than happy to share these slides with anyone that wants a copy of them. Just let me, if I don't have your email, I'll get your email and I can share these slides with you as well. And then again, we are recording this workshop so we can broadcast it later on the city website for anyone that has questions or is interested in joining our efforts. So again, I said with Main Street America, they have created various strategies for downtown revitalization. Everything is focused on what they call the Main Street approach. And so the Main Street approach is centered on transformative strategies. With these transformation strategies, they look at specific goals for revitalizing downtowns. With each of these strategies, once one has been identified by a community, by a Main Street organization, then they focus their work plans around 4 areas that are called economic vitality, design, organization, and promotion. So everything, so for example, let's say that a community wants to do a transformation strategy on revitalizing downtown buildings. Then in each of these 4 areas of economic vitality, design, organization, promotion, they would have specific goals related to those, or what are really called the 4 points by the Main Street community. Again, these are the 4 points here. This just gives a more detailed description as to what those 4 points entail and how they relate to the work plans that a Main Street organization engages in relation to the transformation strategies. So at this point, I will stop. Does anyone have questions about the 4 points, about the Main Street approach at this point? If not, I will keep going. So I have a few slides, and then we'll, like I said, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A and discuss next steps and what we want to do here in Goddard. But again, this is just more of a very, very basic introduction as to what the Main Street program is all about. So moving into more locally, so in 1985, the Kansas Main Street program was established. Again, this is the coordinating program that works directly with what's now referred to as Main Street America. So Kansas Main Street administers the program throughout the state of Kansas and making sure that they're adhering to the principles and the standards and guidelines established by Main Street America. Between 1985 and 2012, you'll see that again, Kansas Main Street had a significant impact on communities throughout the state in terms of revitalization, restoring historic buildings, creation of jobs and new small businesses. Unfortunately, back in 2012, the program was stopped during Governor Brownback's administration, but we were blessed in 2019 to have it reopened under Governor Kelly, and since reopening, nearly 30 communities. Now, some of those were previously designated communities when the program was in existence between 1985 and 2012. Some of those communities after 2012, they kept going. They maintained their board of directors. They maintained work plans and following the 4-point approach. They were doing these things just independently. And so after 2019, some of the communities went through the process of getting redesignated with Kansas Main Street. And some of the communities are new, like the community I work with in Valley Center was a new community that received designated status back in 2023. Now, Kansas Main Street does accept applications on an annual basis to join the program and receive that designated status. So, with that being said, these are just, and like I said, there are almost 30 communities that are designated at this time. These are some of the ones that are closer to home. Again, one of the wonderful things about the program is it is very adaptable based on your, whether you are a large city or a small city, whether you have 20 blocks of historic downtown or 2 or 3 blocks more like we do. The program can be tailored and geared towards whatever your community assets are and the type of transformation strategy you're looking to engage in. So to join the Kansas Main Street program, what happens is there is this, like I said, this is a competitive annual application process. You are required to, as an organization, as a group, submit an application to Kansas Main Street. They will review them, select some finalists, go through an interview process, and then at the end of that interview process, the state will designate, in most recent years, has been 2 to 3 new communities that have been joining the program on an annual basis. And again, these what the core of what they're looking for. So Kansas Main Street will work with Main Street America. If selected as a finalist, we would have an interview, and that would be with both representatives from Kansas Main Street as well as Main Street America out of Chicago. And we would, again, what they're looking at is looking that we have public and private support for the program, as well as the capability of again, fully implementing the local Main Street group, financial capability. So that includes, in most cases, a paid professional director, how we're going to fund the program, and then supporting downtown-related projects. I will tell you how we did it in Valley Center is that there I served as the community development director, and the state did allow me to wear the hat of the director of the Main Street group. There's some flexibility, and they try to be flexible as well, and so we are looking at this point, if we do decide to proceed, that we would be able to utilize one of our local staff, hopefully, at least initially, to serve in that role to meet that specific requirement. Again, other aspects that the state is looking for is a cohesive and, again, a distinct variety of businesses that are working in a defined downtown area, and then interest in and commitment to historic preservation. So again, relating back to the designated districts. So once a community becomes designated, there are requirements to maintain that designation with both Kansas Main Street and Main Street America. There are what are called baseline requirements and community evaluation standards. We won't go into that today, but those really are the basic requirements that every designated Main Street organization must follow. There is some reporting that goes to the state, and that reporting is important. That is reporting any new job creation, new business creation, as well as types of projects that are taking place within the defined downtown area. I will tell you, for Kansas Main Street, it is vitally important that those reports do get filed, because that's how they justify their existence with the state legislature and maintaining funding for the state program. There are a number of benefits to being a designated Kansas Main Street community. I won't read through all of these, but again, a lot of them are tied to technical assistance, various levels of training that the local group can receive from the state staff as well as the Main Street America staff. I will tell you, the Main Street America staff, they are awesome. I've been able to work with a few of them. They travel a lot throughout the country and in providing technical assistance and guidance as we're working on transformational strategies, forming the board, not necessarily forming the board, but how to create a better board of directors and strengthen that board of directors, and making sure that every group is sustainable. There is a limited amount of funding at the state level, and so when those state funds are made available, Kansas Main Street, in some cases, Kansas Main Street organizations do get preference on those funds, which is a benefit, definitely. Again, we do have an affiliation with the Main Street America organization, and then every year Main Street America does host a national conference at a different city throughout the country. Next year, 2026, it's going to be held in Tulsa, so I'm really excited. It's really close to us, but the 2026 conference will be held in Tulsa, I believe in March of next year. I was fortunate to go to conferences in Boston and Birmingham, amazing cities that have awesome downtowns. And so part of that is that the registration, which is a pretty penny. I will tell you, it is nice to have that, the state paying registration for at least one person to attend the national conference. Again, so next steps for Goddard. The first step would be forming a steering committee. Ideally, that would be roughly 5 to 10, but more people if people are interested in serving, but representing different aspects of downtown. So that includes business owners, building owners, and people that have just a general interest in revitalizing and seeing our downtown grow and thrive. The steering committee will be working on the creation of bylaws associated with a 501c3. That is a nonprofit tax designation. Most Main Street organizations in the United States are 501c3s. And so what that allows for is for the organization to receive donations as well as tax deductible donations from individuals and corporations, and then work on organizing the official board of directors. So that would be the initial work plan. Not sure exactly how long that will take. In some cases that can be done in a matter of weeks, sometimes in a matter of months, but again, that would be what that initial work plan would look like for us here in Goddard. Once the board of directors is fully established, their initial work plan would be to establish when they would be meeting on at least once per month, and then work on designation with Kansas Main Street and Main Street America. Right now, I will tell you that Kansas Main Street has been doing those applications normally in the first 2 quarters of the year. So I would anticipate that for 2026, the workshop would probably be held in maybe November or December, and it would be a requirement that we have representation attending that workshop. It's a virtual workshop. And then from there, working on filling out the application itself, submitting it to the state, and then like I said, if we are a finalist, then we would have an interview with the state along with Main Street America staff, and then we'll know whether or not we receive designation status. And then lastly, for the initial work plan for the board, we'd be working on our first transformation, identifying and defining our first transformation strategy, and the work plans that would go with that, again, in conjunction with focusing on those 4 points for that transformation strategy and work plans. With that, I know I covered a lot of information in 15 minutes. I want to open it up to make sure that we have time for questions. And then also, before we end, I do have, for anyone that is interested in serving in the steering committee, I will go ahead and pass this around. Anyone that's interested in serving on the steering committee, I would just ask that you give me your information. Just fill that out, and then our next step will be to identify the steering committee members and start meeting and working through these initial steps. So, what questions do you have for me?
I have a question.
Yes.
Would it be more realistic to have a list of everybody that is attending that has interest in being a part of any type of Main Street progress, and then from that list we can narrow down who wants to be a part of the committee?
That's fine, yeah, if you wanna put your
I think
name
there's some that
down,
might not wanna be on the steering committee, but wanna be a part of
absolutely. So,
communications and meetings and things like
yeah,
that.
definitely. So what would happen is, once the board of directors is established, going back to those 4 points, so you have organization, design, promotion, and economic vitality. Ideally what happens is you have your board, but then you also have a committee for each of those 4 points. So perhaps if someone wants to serve on like the design committee or the organization or whatever the case may be, absolutely. So yes, if you, and there's a place on there, one of the last boxes, to determine your interest. So if you are interested in serving on the steering committee, you can write steering committee, or maybe just one of the 4 point committees. That'd be fine as well. Yeah, maybe
Or just
that'd
that
be.
email distro or.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, definitely. Other questions?
Are we already a part of the Main Street? Like, we've already applied for this?
So I believe at one point the chamber might have been what's called an affiliate member, which is a level below the designated member. I haven't received any communications from Kansas Main Street saying, hey,
The application
what's.
was never filed.
Okay, it was never, there we go.
2
So,
years ago.
yeah, so my understanding is that right now the community does not have any kind of
Okay.
status with Kansas Main Street.
So it would be 2026 that we would be looking at,
Yes.
if we got it.
And even if we aren't selected for designated status, that doesn't mean that we can still operate as as a Main Street organization. So for example, again, going back to Valley Center, I started work with my steering committee in Valley Center in 2016. At that time, there was no state program. And so we were doing everything on our own. And so it took us twice, I will tell you, it took Valley Center, it took our Main Street group twice, 2 rounds to get designated status. We were still doing projects, completing work plans, having monthly board meetings. So even if we don't receive designated status, we can still operate as a Main Street group, absolutely. It just means that we don't have that official designation with the state, and it does limit some of the funding opportunities and technical assistance we can receive. Luckily, we can still operate for sure. It's just working to that would be our goal. Yes.
So the money that's available, that $115 billion plus that they've already doled out, are there certain categories that money goes to?
So
And then I've got a follow-up on
yeah,
that.
that reinvestment, that is a mix of public and private investment. So that includes like private individuals that own buildings, rehabilitating those buildings, or it includes private individuals that are starting businesses. That reinvestment isn't necessarily funds coming from Main Street America or even at the state level. A lot of that is private investment.
Okay.
That is coupled with either state or federal funding. There are, for historic buildings, there are tax credits that are available from both the state and the federal level, so those are included in there as well. I can tell you right now, in terms of state funding, there might be one open grant right now for facade and for historic building improvements. But again, the funding that is available right now is pretty limited. But again, being a designated community does mean that when certain funding opportunities do come available from the state specifically, that Kansas designated communities have first access or will score higher because they have that designated status.
So then that's why it's a priority to get that designation.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because you either get first crack on it or you score more points when they're reviewing all of the applications that come in. So that's why, yeah, it's an ultimate goal that yes, we become a designated community. Again, with going back to all there are multiple benefits more than just the funding, but that's definitely a part of it. Yes.
All right. That was my follow-up.
And I
Yeah.
found a couple of grants, like T-Mobile has a grant right now that is giving priority to those that are Main Street designated. So
Yeah, that's a
even
nation
other
that's
type of
outside.
outside grants that are leveraging this program to help identify people to get their grants too.
Yeah, and that's a nationwide program, and in order to receive it, I think you have to be a 501c3 in order to even be eligible for that funding. Yeah. Other questions? Yes.
What level of input do they have on what we do within our community?
They being who?
Market Street America, or Main Street
Oh,
America?
so Main Street America and Kansas Main Street, so like I said, there are certain requirements and standards that we have to follow, but in terms of actually identifying what local goals and what our local strategies are going to be, that's up to the local group. So, I mean, yes, there are some guiding principles, but really the sky's the limit in terms of what we want to focus
So
on.
what are we looking at as guiding principles?
So that's going to be up to the steering committee and then ultimately the board on what they want to work on in terms of goals. So whether that's looking at facade improvements or improving streetscapes or doing murals, planters, what types of businesses do we want to try to attract to downtown? That's all going to be up to the local group to make that
So that's all
determination.
directed by them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by our steering committee and then ultimately the board of directors. There are just certain, so again, these baseline requirements are things like having an annual budget, having written work plans, for example, for the state, making sure that you're submitting quarterly, they require quarterly
Okay.
in Kansas, submitting these quarterly economic impact reports. So I mean, there are certain requirements that you have to meet, but in terms of the actual goals that we focus on, it's really driven locally by the board. Anyone else?
Could you give some examples of what, like, Hayesville's been doing in the last couple of years?
I couldn't, well, Hayesville's not.
I mean, Valley Center, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was gonna, so I couldn't speak to Hayesville, and they're not a Main Street community, so
Wrong, yeah, I
no,
was
that's
just-
okay. So yeah, no, that's a great question. So Valley Center, I will, like I said, we started in 2016, so we're almost 10 years old ourselves. And so some of the initial projects they worked on were creation of planters. If you've been to downtown Valley Center, there is like one tree in downtown Valley Center, and so the steering committee wanted to work on in terms of the design, looking at, again, going back to the 4 points. So on organization, some of their initial work plans were forming the board, getting their 501c3 designation. In terms of design, they looked at, we did some planters in downtown. Also looked at, another project was doing veterans banners. So if you drive down Valley Center now, really from May to August or September, you'll see veterans banners. That was a partner project between Main Street Valley Center, the local chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and the Valley Center Historical Society. And so what happens with these Main Street organizations is not only great because it's a standalone organization, but really we're looking to partner with other local groups as well. So whether that's the chamber or other businesses, whatever the case may be, there are a lot of opportunities, especially having that 501c3 designated tax status. Opens it up for a lot of opportunities. But again, our Veteran Banners project, we did create a facade grant program, so anyone that's in the designated area, and that'd be also something that is an initial project for this group, would be to define, okay, what's our downtown? Is it from Santa Fe to 3rd, Santa Fe to 2nd? What does that look like? So define that area, and then once you have that defined area, that is the focus of the group itself. And so within that defined area, any building owner that has a historic building could apply for a facade grant. It's a dollar for dollar matching grant. It's been around, let's see, when did we start that? I think we started that in 2017 or 2018, if I'm remembering correctly. And so that ranges from someone wanted to paint their building, someone needed to restore some historic windows. It really varies on what that can be used for, but that is a grant now that's administered by the local Main Street Valley Center group. We started in terms of events, so promotion kind of ties to events. We started some food truck rallies. We'd never had food truck rallies in Valley Center before, and so now we have a couple of food truck rallies. During the year, we do a movie on Main Street night where we get a projector and project a movie on the side of a building, and everyone can come down and watch a movie. We've partnered with our chamber on co-hosting Fall Festival and a Halloween event downtown. I think what else? That's let's see. One project that they were working on when I left was creating a business forum where we would bring in either representative from the Small Business Development, SBDC, to come in, but set up a guest lecture series to invite businesses to, where Main Street was hosting these events. and then just helping to provide education to the downtown business owners. And so, I mean, what you do as a downtown organization, again, is focused on the 4 points in your transformation strategy, and those vary over time. But again, everything kind of ties back to that. But really what you focus on as a local group is up to the local group and how it is engaged in revitalizing and helping downtown to thrive. Other questions?
What designates a historical building?
Normally it's at least 50 years old and retains much of its historic character. So whatever its original features were, those features are still intact or can be rehabilitated. Now I know in downtown Goddard, yes, we're limited on the number of buildings, historic buildings that we have, but that's not to say that we could, you know, we obviously work with what we have, right? And I know there are some historic buildings within our downtown, but again, you need to have at least some historic character in order to qualify for the program. So if you had, like for example, I don't want to pick on one of our neighbors, but Park City is creating a fake downtown. It's called Park Center, and it's by the library, and it's a mixed-use development with commercial and residential. That is not a historic downtown. No offense against Park City, but if Park City was to apply to become a Main Street community, the state and the Main Street America would say, well, you don't have any historic buildings in your downtown area. And so we are blessed at least with some historic character, some historic fabric within our downtown. And as we proceed in time, these newer buildings do become historic. So for example, the library, that is a historic building.
I know.
It is a historic building, and believe it or not, it is. That's considered a historic building.
You
Yeah.
don't have to have a historical designation by like
I've lived there.
the county or.
Oh, no.
registry.
So no, in order to be, no, you don't have to be on the National Register for historic places. No. Now, I will tell you that being on the national, if your building is on the National Register for Historic Places, it does help you when you're filing for tax credits for rehabilitation projects. So I will. There are some advantages to being on the National Register, but it is not a requirement to be a designated Main Street community.
How would yours?
50 years is not that old for down here.
That's a barber
shop? That looks old.
That's just the quality.
That's probably the new into the program, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
we're not picking and
No,
choosing
no,
businesses
no,
to
that's
work
just
with.
saying like.
No,
That's
absolutely
like
not.
supporting for historical projects, so like those buildings, like the library, on that point, or like you could do a historical project on the library because it's
Probably
old.
that.
Right.
But it's not a qualification, it doesn't, you don't have to have one.
What? Oh, yes.
No, that's okay, they can discuss first. So what kind of impact are we looking at, on the city budget then?
Well, that'd be up to city council on if they would, the city council would need to vote on if they want to, supply the group with any seed money. I will tell you, a lot of Main Street organizations do get some kind of financial contribution from the local unit of government, whether that's the city or the county. It'd be up to council to make that determination. I couldn't speak to that. I mean, obviously, once we have a steering committee formed and we're working on work plans, we're working on trying to get designation with Kansas Main Street, then we build the case to take the council to say, hey, are there funds that we potentially use as seed money? I will tell you, in Valley Center right now, and don't use this as a guidepost for those local elected officials in the room, but annually, Valley Center does contribute $10,000 to Main Street Valley Center. Now that varies obviously by community. Some have a much larger contribution, some smaller. But again, one thing they are looking at is that there's both public and private support, including the local unit of government, for the creation and implementation of a Main Street group. But I couldn't speak to a dollar amount at this point.
And could some of these projects go into some of these other organizations that the city works with, that the council works with, like Waldo or any of these other ones?
Let's
Or
say.
with the Main Street.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's say we're looking at doing a downtown streetscape project. Yes, there are federal funds through WAMPO or other funding avenues that we could look at, and yeah, definitely. In some cases, in a lot of those cases, the city does have to be the applicant, but showing that you do have an active downtown group that is looking to revitalize and bring in new business, and see the downtown area thrive, that can help build the case and the narrative of your grant application of why this project should be funded. Absolutely.
Just to share my opinion is, what I'm most excited about is just getting all of us together to have a vision and a plan. So, I mean, we're coming to a very exciting time of a lot of growth, a lot of exciting things happening, and I just think I would like to get on a cohesive level with everybody in here, based thoughts and opinions and ideas, so that way we can all together work as a team, you know, to make it very cohesive and you know, and then becoming a Main Street America designation is a bonus on top of that. That's extra support, you know, services, guidance. But no matter what, I hope that we start something and, you know, just come together and figure out what we want to do.
Definitely.
Some good response on Main Street.
No, I agree with you, Amanda, it's a community that has to do this, not somebody at state level or a national level.
It's locally driven,
If
yes.
it's a door that can open to us to give us availability to funds.
I almost see it like a
To do that.
resource, like that's a
Yeah, it is
resource
a
for
resource.
us to use and to help us, but we, like you said, I love that it needs to be, it's on us, it's our ideas,
It's our
our
community.
vision, what we were wanting to do.
It's a really good project for the community to actually have their voices heard and work on those things.
And just for me, like, I know we're gonna grow a lot, and to me, I always see Main Street as like that heart to where no matter how big we grow, we're always gonna have that small town feel, that connection, you know, that neighborly, you know, experience and relationship with is always gonna be our downtown. And the only way we're gonna protect that and then ensure that is if we're very intentional about what we do and how we do it.
Other questions or comments? Yes.
You're the assistant administrator?
Yes.
For the city of Goddard, right?
Yes.
So you couldn't serve on a committee like that? Would there be a conflict of interest?
Not necessarily a conflict. So going back to my experience in Valley Center, I served as the community development director there. My role was more of that technical assistance. So I can provide technical assistance. I necessarily wouldn't serve on a committee, but I'm more than happy, just with my personal background of being involved with the Main Street approach and the Main Street organization, I'm more than happy to provide that technical assistance and guidance to help the group and answer questions and help facilitate connectivity with different state, federal, other resources that might be out there. But definitely, it is a personal passion of mine, is downtown revitalization. I want to see any historic community see their Main Street do well, and going back to Amanda's point, making sure that this area doesn't get forgotten as the community does continue to grow, but that it's that historic core, it's that downtown, it's that gathering place where people can come when they're in town, whether they're a resident or not, and have an awesome experience.
I think the city's blessed to have you, so.
Oh, thank you.
And I think with the new creation of Danny's role in community development and engagement, that's on the city now for all of the events with the committee members. Like, I think her being a part of it is huge because when we talk about events,
Yeah.
that
It's
could
important
be.
keeping those events in mind.
It could, and I
Because
can.
most of them all happen on Main Street.
I see at some point that we might transition some of these community events from the city to the Main Street group. I could see it as a long-term, looking long-term, the long-term vision is that perhaps some of these events could be turned over to them to operate them independently of the city itself. Obviously, like you said, most of them do take place either in or adjacent to downtown. I think that'll be a natural evolution as the organization matures, that we look at transitioning some of these events. I don't know when, but I think it would make sense to look at as a long-term vision, a long-term goal, that some of those maybe now become the Goddard Main Street Group's organization, part of their responsibility, again, under the area of promotion.
Could we make it a priority to first, like the next step from this would be just creating an additional workshop to where we can have the time to discuss all of those ideas and everybody's.
So I mean, that's gonna be up to the steering committee. So I would say first we need to focus on who wants to be on the steering committee, and then start working on those goals. Yes, absolutely.
I just see that almost like, is there a way to do that? Because I think the more people are able to engage and share ideas and see what cohesiveness there is, that might present more people that would want to be a part of the steering committee.
Okay.
It's almost like that initial focus group or workshop.
Now
to
they
say-
know what this is, like,
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
Because I think some people may not even, have
Understand.
ideas or like an idea of what could be possible.
So I would say, yeah, absolutely, the steering committee, the designated steering committee could host some kind of community event, for sure, yes. But I think first you need to define who is going to be on the steering committee, and then from there, yes, open up to the community, say, okay, we as the Goddard Main Street Steering Committee would like to get your input, hey, everyone's input from the community, what do you wanna see, what should our initial goals be as we're working on forming our 501c3, as we're working on putting together our bylaws for that organization and forming the board, what do our goals need to be as we're establishing ourselves as a community organization? And if other people wanna join in at that point, that's fine, I mean, that's fine.
What is their available stops?
Committee needs to be, that way.
If we start the committee, but I think the first thing that the steering committee does is hold that public event, I mean, that we're leaving
So I'm just
space
thinking like
for a few
timeline,
people.
like I just don't want us
Yeah.
to be, okay, the next meeting is in 6 months.
It's not gonna be 6 months from now.
So you know what I'm saying, like I just wanted to keep moving to where,
Yeah.
we can start talking about
Mhm.
those different ideas.
And like put like 30 days on, give them Fall Fest, and then, 'cause I feel like if we're
So, like,
gonna have
are we
you a
gonna-
part of it, we probably should get through Fall Fest and then do
Oh,
like
yeah.
mid to end October maybe.
That's fine. Yeah, at this point, what we're just looking for is to get a designated steering committee together, and this will be ad hoc, this is not gonna go to council for approval. It's just the city is supporting, or doing what we can to support the initiative of creating a Main Street group. And so, what I need at this point is just a dedicated, yes, I'm gonna serve on the steering committee, and then, like I said, it's gonna be up to the steering committee to work again on forming the nonprofit and getting the bylaws together, and then when we get to the point where Kansas Main Street says, hey, we're interested in designating some more communities into the program, then work through that process as well. So those are gonna be some of those initial steps.
But we don't have to wait
Oh, did that
to
die?
become, like my thing is like, I think the committee should be started
No, it's good.
regardless of it being a Main Street designation.
I agree 100%.
Like
It's
I just
just
don't want
that,
all that to happen
Yeah,
before we even get to
that's
do
fine.
anything,
Mhm.
like.
I agree.
Like, we create the committee, whether you
Mhm.
call it steering committee or not, but you create some type of a Main Street committee. And then from that committee, we're able to start working on stuff now, because there's stuff now we can work on
Yeah.
cohesively, like payment ownership and things like that.
Mhm.
And then you form your Main Street, America designation committee and board and all that, but there's still an informal part, because there's some people that don't have that kind of commitment or interest of doing the more formal stuff.
Yeah,
But want to
definitely.
be a part of this whole process.
Yes, I get that. So yeah, absolutely forming the steering committee, and then, like you said, engaging with the community as well as working on these other points. I think that's fine. I mean, you're going to be working as a Main Street. You're not focused on just one thing at a time. You've got multiple irons in the fire, which is why you need a lot of engagement from different types of individuals in the community to be involved.
I think it's very important that the steering committee remember the foremost thought is our community. And how are we going to take care of our community and not put this as the priority? Whether that, we become a part of that or designated as the American Main Street.
Like, that's the goal.
We have Goddard Main Street. That's,
Mhm.
that's our focus.
Yep. And again, the focus is on downtown. I just want to make sure that a question that I get a lot is, what's the difference between if a community has a chamber and a Main Street group? What's the difference? And the way I look at it is in the focus area. So again, a Main Street group has a very targeted, specific focus area. Again, that'll be defined by the steering committee. But a lot of chambers they're focused on business, whether it's in Goddard Galleria or downtown. Wherever the case may be, in our case, for example, the chamber has a lot larger geographic focus area, whereas Main Street groups throughout the country have a very defined area in their community on which they're engaged in projects, in goals. And so one of the things that the steering committee also look at is, okay, we need to designate what is going to be our target area. And going back to, again, Amanda's point, I think having a thriving downtown benefits the entire community, not just downtown.
So realistically, we could probably put a steering committee meeting together after Fall Fest Fest. Is that realistic?
I think so, absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe you could just get an email out to all the people that put committee and then
That's, yeah,
they go from
so,
there.
And there were several people that couldn't come today that is interested, that I talked to, that wanna be part of the committee,
okay.
so.
Once we have this posted on the website, I'll let you know and you can share that with them. We can also do a social media post in general saying, hey, if you
Yeah,
couldn't come to the
people
meeting,
that wanna be part of the committee, but just not
we'll
be here.
provide the link to where this is gonna be housed. I'm not sure where we're gonna put it on the city website. It'll just be somewhere on the city
And then
website.
we shared on the city Facebook page as well.
Sarah? Yeah, I'm assuming we can do that. Post this, can we post this recording on Facebook? Is that,
On Facebook?
yes, is
Yes.
that possible? Sure, there we go, yeah.
The flyer was on there, so like, I figured that would be,
The what?
the flyer was on the city.
Oh, yes, yes. I was just looking at more from a technical
Oh, yeah,
ability,
yeah.
because like I said, we're just recording this, we're not live streaming this. So, yeah, we'll have the recording so we can post that on the city website as well as social media. Yeah.
Is anybody else excited?
Yes.
Everybody's so quiet. Sorry.
I'm excited
Huh?
because, living so close to Main Street and coming and seeing our Main Street, it's very sad, frankly. There's not a lot going on. So I would like to see more businesses, more mom and pop kind of things, boutiques and that kind of stuff. Just something that draws the people in, other than Linear Park and getting a snow cone for Mrs. Cole, which is not a bad thing at all, Brian, don't get me wrong. But just some vitality.
Oh, definitely, yes.
So it really looks like a main street. I mean, I've been to Emporia several times, just got a chance to go up to Sterling, and their main streets are just awesome. Yes,
Like, I was thinking
yes.
about
Well, that's what that, like, club
Yeah, like
is.
simple things like that, though. Just
Well, I
make it
think
look-
potential, like, up and coming businesses and just our current businesses, like, you can see that we're pouring back into their space.
Mhm.
It makes people, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're both on Main Street, but like, if you saw somebody pouring back into the space in front of you, like, it would make you wanna do more outside, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think there's,
Like Christmas.
When some of
Everybody
those,
should have.
I see some pumpkins outside.
some of those towns have a lot more buildings to start with.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's a lot easier to
Yeah.
create
Yes,
Yeah.
for
a
sure.
better Main Street when they don't have, when they've got 100 different buildings, not 20.
Right.
But even with 20 buildings, you could still,
There's a lot.
there's a lot that could be done to make it look nicer and more cohesive and as planners and make it look better, so, yeah.
Well, for example, and I hate to throw people under the bus, but it's like when we have Main Street Market or any activity going on, I really personally think that if you've got a business on Main Street, it should be open.
We do too.
Okay.
We're saying,
People in here own the buildings.
Hmm?
How many of the people in here own the buildings?
Or work in them. Or work in them?
Okay,
Can we say work in them?
yeah.
own the buildings, not rent the buildings. So how many people own the buildings? And how many people are running the buildings?
Yeah, no, I'm in charge.
And there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of people that couldn't come that are owners as well, because they're running their businesses right now, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
I see your point with businesses being open, and I'm gonna say for like the library, we are open, which I think we should be open, but somebody that runs the building, it's very difficult when you have a full-time staff that works Monday through Friday to bring in somebody to work on Sunday. My staff, we do a rotation for all of us to be here for Main Street Market. We like it. We are more of a bathroom stop than we are anything else. But we're happy to be open, but I do see that side of a business where if you're not normally open on a Sunday, that you have to rearrange your entire scheduling with your staffing to have people up here. I always like to have 2 people in the building at all times, that's a safety thing, so I have to pull in 2 staff members to be into the building when, so it's taking away from something else. And I get, you usually are open for Main Street Market, and we're happy to do that, but that is from somebody that runs a building, that is an issue. And so I think, again, we're on Main Street, you should be open, and I agree with that, but it also is a logistic and scheduling thing for me and staffing too. So there's always that, is looking at that too, so I can see that. But I mean, we should, I agree, we should be open, we should be a part of that, but
There's also not a lot of places that, there's probably what, 3 or 4 that.
I'll make the other comment that 80 to 70% of the people that are in these buildings are service people. They're not walk-in business,
Yeah.
except for cutting your hair, doing stocks, selling industrial instruments. So it's not, where you're having a community that's having crafts and everything else. It's all service.
And again, that can be one of the transformational strategies, is looking at how do we as a downtown diversify our existing businesses. And you can go again to that strategy of looking at design, promotion, economic vitality, and organization. How do you go through that? How do you go through that process? And that's where you can get technical assistance. Even if we aren't a designated community, there are still other avenues out there that we could ask. How to ask other communities or other educational opportunities for how do we diversify our business. So again, the steering committee, the board of directors would identify what are our top priorities, and if business diversification is one of them, then that's what we would be working on.
Well, and the other thing is the rental properties and what the cost is to rent these properties to people, and can they afford it? So I'm just, I've owned that building that I owned for over 40 years, and it started out, I bought it from my ex for a craft shop, and it didn't succeed.
Well, and like the boutiques that unfortunately haven't made it, some of it, it's just hard to keep the businesses on Main. And I do think us doing this committee could help that.
Has anyone seen Hometown on HGTV? It's like a show that brings a team of designers to kind of revitalize the towns that are kind of dwindling away. And the Main Street is like a main focus, and the focus is about creating spaces where people can go and hang out. Because if you can bring the young people, the community to go and have spaces to sit down and have a bench to sit, or just spaces to just enjoy the beauty around the downtown, they will start seeing the windows of the stores and be like, ooh, I want that. And it'll create the foot traffic for the businesses, and that is like another focus. And another suggestion that I've been kind of thinking about is, since our name is Goddard, maybe something in like to respect and honor Goddard, then like as an inventor, maybe that kind of could be like a theme towards like the downtown, where that could kind of have like because that's where who we're named after. So that could be something that we can think as a town. I was just thinking that's my little tidbit of contribution for like just a seed of thought for people to think about. So anyway, those two things.
And I see it about like leveraging, like we have a really amazing community and a lot of really good hearted people that want to come together and do things. So like, I see advantages in, if I'm painting my building and I'm getting a whole bunch of paint, is there anybody else ready to paint their building, because we could get a better discount if we all bought it together, or did it at the same time, or, I'm sure we can all come together and get planners and get the same ones, and then all of a sudden it's cohesive, like if we have to have a vision and idea, then, we could be like, oh, you buy one, I'll buy one, you buy one, and then all of a sudden it looks like there was a whole plan, and it's all cohesive and stuff, so. That's what I'm excited about too, is just, coming together as a team and making it nice together. And
I think progress has already been made. I think we need to look at that. I mean, I've been at the library for 6 years. When I first started, it was a ghost town out here. I mean, it was just quiet. I could hear the flagpole, binging, because except for like on story time on Mondays, but it's so quiet. I could look out at the windows and I'm like, there was nobody here. It was busy on Mondays for story time. And then now, I mean, you can't find parking, and it's just constantly, there's a lot going on Main Street. So I think that progress has been made, is that there's always, Dr. Joy's going in the hair salon and the donut shop and Mrs. Cole. There is progress that has been made. So I think that we need to look at that, we have a good start. So, I know personally, just, like I said, being out here, if there's not very many days that I don't feel like, what is going on today? There's just a lot happening now. And I think that that's a good base to build off of. We have lots more to do, but there has been some progress made. People are coming to Main Street to get their haircut or go get chiropractor, go get a donut. Mrs. Cole's come to the library, senior center, Iron Nutrition, all those things. So people are coming out here. It's what do we need to keep doing to build on what we currently have too.
And I love that you brought that up, because when I bought the building, I reached out to the owners of the salon and Cobo and said, what were your paint colors? And so, like, I'm painting my building in the same schemes of what has already been started. And I know there's other new business owners on Main Street that, can consider that too. And I'm not going to tell you about how they can't paint their building, but I would love for it to continue what has already been started, because it looks great. So, having those colors, it brings it even more cohesive versus somebody not knowing that that's our thought process, and then they go and paint the building pink. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it just takes time to be like, all try to work together to be able to do that.
Yeah, some Main Street organizations do have design standards, as well as preferred colors. When you're looking at infill, what does that, if you were going to build a building, say, as an infill project, what requirements in terms of materials and colors do you have to use? Some Main Street organizations have that for their designated area. So that's be a pretty big project to take on as a new organization, but that's, again, something for a long range.
Well, luckily what's already been done looks great, and it's very easy to duplicate, and so I'm honoring that by the new paint colors that will soon be on that thing. So
awesome.
Long-term look at something like that, we have to start with the businesses that are already here and have conversations with them before we. I like that though. Not cookie cutter, but you know what I mean.
Like, yeah.
Sympathetic.
So,
yeah, there you go.
and then, like, on the side of the building, we're gonna put a mural. So, like, nothing to have other people's input for that.
But as we're talking about these things, we're also talking about funds that come from businesses themselves and like what that looks like as well. Instead of
but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because we have Neighbors United, we have other opportunities that, if we're super intentional, we're plugging projects in that do support the overall vision and things that we're trying to do. Sorry,
I just wanted us to be also realistic while we're dreaming that in the beginning we may not get the Main Street.
Right.
But to his point, they still did it in spite of, but also it is going to be personal people who are contributing to the funding of these things. When we did the salon, that was us. The owner of the building, once they saw what we were doing inside, and when we asked, said we need to take that bay window off and put a storefront, they then determined that, we were so blessed that they did this, but they determined that they would change the facade on the outside. So it was us initially walking in and saying, this is what we have, this is the vision we have for this space, and just some conversation with the actual owner of the building. And once we started making those changes, they graciously said we are going to do the outside. So I think that we just continue to keep communication going. We've set this steering committee, however it looks. We get organized and utilize our civic and community groups in every way that we possibly can without wearing everyone out. And just that people who want to engage are here for the long haul and have a vision and a desire to love our Main Street like we do.
Definitely.
So,
yep.
I would love to see a Main Street sign at Kellogg.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Big, well, people
Yeah.
don't
That's
know
the
what
thing
they
is,
Yeah,
like that should be our first thing.
Everybody
signage
sees
or
183rd and Kellogg, where all that stuff is. Everybody sees that, and they
Yeah.
don't go farther down.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, I've been here for almost 20 years, and when I first got here, there was a Main Street. I'm a legacy into the area, my family grew up here. But it's like, you miss it. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's
Something that sets the Main Street area apart, not like,
yeah.
I guess I don't envision like our standard blue signs that we're putting up, like a picture or something.
Yeah, different.
It
Main
needs to be,
Street finish.
with it being the highway,
Oh,
it needs
yeah.
to be a little bit bigger
Yeah.
than just a standard street sign.
That.
And even Bill that needs one, Oak needs one,
Something that goes with the Main Street
needs
theme.
one. Every street off the highway needs a sign that's big enough that says, this is the street, you're not squinting to see it.
Yeah.
You know, cause that's the way it was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, when you're on 60, you don't slow down, but.
Exactly.
I mean 50.
Isn't it
It's just a suggestion.
I have a question. Does the city make money from events that could take place on downtown or like Main Street?
So the city
Like a
does.
parade
So the
or-
city has a 1% sales tax. So everything that qualifies for that 1% sales tax when we're doing the Main Street Market events or hosting, Fall Festival, whatever the case is. So those vendors that are selling, they should be collecting and reporting that 1% to the state that eventually does get back to the city to go back into city funds. I will also tell you, so for the many of our events, we do have a registration fee for the vendors, and that goes back towards helping fund community events right now at this
So I was
point.
gonna say, could that money go towards funding, like, the seed money to work on the Main Street?
Again, that would be a discussion that we would have with city council.
Right.
So I'll tell you someone Amanda White that does a lot of the city events. We barely make enough to scrape by just to host the events. So
Okay,
it's
we
like,
come out of pocket a lot.
yeah, and sometimes that's if we break even. I mean, in the past, there's been times where we don't. So usually with the events that we have going now, there's just not enough left to.
I was thinking, cause like, when I first moved, cause I came from Nevada to Kansas. I used to be in college here and then 3 years ago, we moved here. And I was looking for the Midwest, like 4th of July, like parade, and Goddard doesn't have that. Like, and I was like, I had to go all the way to like close to Derby, you know, to go get that experience.
Garden Plain has a
Right,
really
but
great
like,
one.
why not here, right? And so that idea of like having the right events to bring the people to the right place that we're trying to develop, and creating spaces where people can take pictures and post online to where they can draw the attention to the space. Things like that can like bring attention, and the attention brings more
The more
foot traffic,
events, the more sales. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like, so if we can just create intentionally some spaces where people can take selfies and go like, water downtown, you know, things like that. And then, you know, eventually parade will be or event, and then just, you know what I mean? Just like things simple as that could create that like spreading the news. And like I came to this meeting only because whoever was, tagging everyone on Facebook at the Goddard community.
We all know.
Because otherwise I wouldn't have known, and I appreciate even for the other meeting, I wouldn't have known, so thank you. I'm grateful for that. I'm not pointing you out for a bad thing, I'm just grateful for that. So like simple things like that, like you know, like we're busy with lives, and like little things like that can draw the attention of people that have like attention elsewhere. So I'm thinking if we can create little spaces, thinking small, from the little money that we get, if we get any, from the city or something, and we can create these little things that can create the attention seeking or drawing, and then we can draw more people to have events, and then we can create these events that are happening elsewhere, bringing the money elsewhere. So that's kind of like, I think that might make that space more welcoming and more desirable. Because right now, nothing is happening there, I feel like.
And the more exciting we get about it and we share that, the more exciting other people will get about it.
Right.
And we have so many talented people in our community, and with great big hearts that, you know, I think the more we bring attention to it, the more we're
Right.
need a mural or something, we might get people to donate it, you know, or planners, you know, that type of thing. The more you focus on it and bring attention to it and get excited about it, the more I think people will come and want to be a part of it and help, and we can get more of it accomplished.
And I think those events that the community wants to have will guide also what that downtown is gonna look like as well.
You should come to our comms meeting.
I
I was
would
just
love to. I don't know when
thinking
they are. I do
Which is Christmas
I
on
don't-
Main
Before you
Street
Christmas on
today.
Main, yeah.
I'll give you my number.
Look
You
on
can just-
Facebook, yes.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm like, if you had not tagged twice, like at everyone. I
Sorry,
would-
people get mad at me for that, but I'm like,
Don't
I swear it helps.
I'm grateful. I'm thanking you. Like, I'm taking the time to thank you. I was gonna take the time to say, whoever did that, thank you. Like,
Yeah, because Christmas on Main is a small event. We've had like year 3 now.
I was gonna say, it's only been a few years since.
But it's one we
But it's one we're trying to
desperately
bring
want to
in.
grow.
It's
fine.
for that.
So it
Yeah.
started in 2020.
2020.
like when you drive downtown, like, my husband and I like to do drives through Kansas and just kind of see different towns. And like different cities have different feels, but like going through downtown Goddard, there's like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna turn you on to something though. I want you to, if you drive, if you park, I don't know how far you live from downtown Goddard. At like 5 a.m. when it's quiet,
okay.
the flag's out, the lights are on, park your car and walk. Walk, jog. It is beautiful. It is my favorite time of day.
Wait, downtown Goddard at 5 a.m.?
It is beautiful.
She's just
If you go outside right now, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like,
I'm just trying to help.
I know we're almost on time.
Yes.
Can we just go
I
around
was
and
gonna say,
do
like,
ours,
I might
you know?
pull
If you want to,
it
just
stand
yeah, go around,
for
state your
the-
name, and then I would also ask, did everyone that wants to be at least getting communications, do I have your email address?
Yeah.
Yes, I have your email address? Okay, perfect. And then, is there anyone in the room right now that you'd like me to go ahead and put you on the list to serve as a steering committee member? Amanda, Jess, Carrie.
Yeah.
I put a maybe, I don't have experience in that, so.
You don't
let's-
have to.
You don't have that experience.
We love community
I
members
just
too,
want to do a
because
club,
then you
just
can
do it.
help
Sign up.
from a community perspective.
Alright.
Did you say we're a club?
Yeah,
get a club.
I
love
okay,
it.
so-
Better to say public club,
Yes.
so we'll take it.
Are you Annie?
Ani,
Ani. Very good.
sorry, European pronunciation.
No, it's okay. Okay, and then, I'm sorry.
Larry Schmidt.
Carrie.
And then Doug Schrute from Schrute Walker couldn't be here, but he asked to be
And
on it.
Jeff.
you're Jess, okay.
If it's just Tuesdays or Thursdays. We got 2 Amandas, 2 Jesses.
That is all right. Okay, anybody else?
So,
And, Callista, is that
Yes.
right?
and
Yep.
Ellie Taylor. Is it Taylor's last name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ellie.
Okay.
Randy's like, you can just come in.
And Jody.
You don't have to
have
be
to be
Randy's
Randy's
wife.
Thank you. And,
Taylor.
sorry? Deanna, let's see, are you, yeah, you're on here, okay, perfect, I've got. Okay, awesome, so what I'll do is I will look at dates and, put out some dates for after Fall Festival, to have a steering committee. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't wanna come to me.
All right.
We'd like to have
What?
a meeting on the 10th.
All right, very quickly,
5 a.m.
Jody, why don't you start us, we'll go around and just do a, this is who I am.
This is who I am. I'm
Yeah.
Jody Bernard. I am retired from my main job. I'm still raising Randy. We live right behind this building on Main Street, probably in one of the older houses. And we've been here, well, we're just babies. We are just babies, really. I think it's 4 years in November.
Thank you.
Amanda Treadwell, I just purchased 206 North Main, which I'm learning used to be the former grocery store a long time ago. And we'll be opening Goddard's Resource Welcome and Resource Hub soon, which I'm excited about. We have several Bennett's in the office as well. And then also, a part of, Goddard Senior Center on Main Street.
Jess Meyer, and I moved to Goddard about 6 years ago, and I've worked downtown for about 5. So I absolutely love it. I work in, I sell insurance, it used to be Allstate, so I work in the building and managers purchase.
I'm Danny. I'm the new community engagement director here. I'll be helping with this committee just as well as all the other events in town. I'll be here. I didn't sign up on the sheet because you know I will be. You're already a part of it. Yep.
I'm Callista, and I own a soccer club as well as a few other small in-home businesses out of my home in the Seasons Housing Addition. I've been here for near 20 years.
Cool, wow.
Dr. Joey, I own Veronica Chiropractic. We've been here for 15 years. And so we own some other property we want to develop on Main Street, so trying to get an idea of what the ideas are for facade or what that stuff needs to look like. And yeah, I'd like to see some cohesiveness or beautification on Main Street as well, so. But I can't commit to the committee, but I definitely want to be in contact on when meetings are, and I'll try to make it when I can.
I'll just blow up your messenger.
Send the girls.
There you go.
Yeah, they would probably do it.
Yeah, we'll figure out when, we need to establish our regular meeting schedule, and then we'll go from there.
And I'm Melanie, and I've lived in Goddard for just 4 years this month. And I'm really interested in the small town, the small street, the town I lived in up in Illinois. I slowly watched it deteriorate, lose all of its retail walk-in business, and it's devastating. And I just hope that that doesn't happen here, and whatever I can do to help not live through that again, I would love to do it.
Wonderful, thank you.
I'm Crystal Hall, and I co-own Main Street Salon and Studios on Main Street. My husband and I have lived here 20 years, and he's originally from here, grew up here his whole life. So when we moved back here and we're walking through the streets, we were like, what has happened here? And we did have an opportunity at one point to put a salon in over by the library. There was an old building there, but it was dilapidated and it was just not going to be a rehabable building. So we opted to do a park in that place and dedicated it to our grandparents, my grandparents. So I have a real heart for our city. I want to create spaces where people can gather. All of them need work, but you know, that is the desire of our heart, to make sure that this is a place where people want to come and spend time.
My name is Amanda White. I have been in Goddard about 5 years. I quite literally picked Goddard on a map, and my family and I thought it would be a stepping stone, and now we will probably never leave. I would say that Main Street revitalization and its businesses and just the community coming together is top 2 most important things to me. I love Main Street. I love being part of the Main Street events, and so yeah, I'm just very passionate about this.
I'm Carrie Morton, and we moved out this way in 2011. So our oldest kid go to the schools, obviously. He's now graduated, our youngest is still here. And then I've been on staff at the library since 2019. Been director for a little over a year. So love Goddard, love Main Street, obviously love the library. Well, yeah, he does. You don't want to talk, but so Main Street's very important to me in the fact that that's where the library is kind of the heart of Main Street, I think, personally. And so excited to see what's going on.
Thank you. All right, Linda, why don't you?
Linda, we've lived here 32 years now, and my husband likes to tell people we live in inner city Goddard. So
The hood.
We live in the hood. So, yeah, we live a couple blocks away, and so yeah, it's been good to see the businesses starting to come back and a little bit more activity in the downtown, and streets they expanded. It's good to see that. And I'd like to see more of it happening. So I'm excited about this. Looking at our town and let's take care of what we have, and let's because you got to invest in what you already have.
Absolutely. All right, Mayor, keep it going.
My name is George Lee. I've lived here for 28 years. I retired from banking. I still do some bank loan review. I've got a little LLC, Lee Financial Services. I think that the things that have happened in the community the last 15 years have made, with the park and the businesses, have set a direction for downtown that creates a place that other communities don't have the opportunity to develop. Andover was started in 1970, they don't have a downtown. Bel Air was started in 1985, they don't have a downtown. So we have an opportunity to make improvements incrementally that will continue to make this an attractive place for people with young children and other retail, or is a destination. This summer, if you look at how that park is filled every day this summer. A couple times I was asked to take pictures of the buses from Hayesville and Andover and the other communities, so I could kind of poke a stick at the other mayors and councilmen I know, but we have we have the opportunity to make this really a unique place. So I'm just excited to see the energy, and I think it's hopeful to try to look at things and look what they could be like in the next 10 to 15 years. And if we're forward thinking in what we do, we'll make this a better place than it is today. And the reason I ran for city council was that I just thought that it's crazy enough to think that I could step in as a role on council and try to make things a little bit better than what they've been, and hopefully at some point in the future can hand it off to the next person and things will be better when that happens and when I start.
I'm Mark Foster, lived out here since '76. Boys went to all the schools out here. First house was down on number 4 South Main, and owned the building since 1980 on Main Street.
Is it?
That's it.
Ani Schweitzer. I live at Seasons neighborhood. We bought the house without even stepping foot. We did virtual tour. We followed our daughter. She's our baby. So our son was moving away. We were empty nesters. So I retired from former educator. So gave that up, and now I'm an avid gardener. Grow my vegetables and fruit, and don't have a lot of space. I have a lot more space in the backyard than I did in Vegas, and I use that very well. And I've grown a greener thumb than I used to have.
We know who can help us with planters.
I will definitely contribute in that. I have grown a huge passion for that. So yeah, I've lived here for 3 years now, but yeah, I used to live here when I went to Newman. My husband and I met when we were both at Newman, so yeah, so anyway, that's about it.
Deanna Miller, I was raised here, left for 37 years and back officially for 3 months today. So yeah, just want to be able to take pride in the hometown, and it definitely needs some help.
I'm Gary Miller. I live with her. I was born and raised in California, moved back here to go to college at WSU, and then met this brown-eyed brunette and stayed for a while, and then, yeah, we were gone for about 26 years to Colorado for work, and moved back on July the 18th, and very happy to be back here. It's good people. People are just nice. Don't happen in Colorado.
Where in Colorado?
Loveland, north of Denver, about an hour.
Oh, okay.
I'm Jess Dunce. I own Iron Nutrition, so I rent from now Amanda at the back of the building. I'm super excited for what's to come for that area. And I'll echo what Carrie said. I'm sure you left, but like we've been there for 5.5 years, and from 5.5 years ago to today, our business has grown and it continues to grow. People will come in and be like, "What's happening on Main Street?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I like it that there's no parking." And they'll have to park on Main Street and come through the building, so it creates traffic for everybody else inside the building as well. And then my new neighbor Larry across the street is gonna grow his area, so I'm super excited for that. And I'm excited for everything that's to come on the steering committee.
Okay, Larry Schmidt, we recently purchased 128 North Main, right up here on the corner. The metal building.
We can talk about facade improvement.
Needs some pizzazz. Yeah, so we're in real estate, building and construction, and been a part of the community since probably '07. That's when we brought our kids out here, and grandkids and all them go here, and so yeah, just excited to see the community grow and the downtown really get that rehab that it's needed for quite some time. We've always been very fond of the downtown Goddard, and I grew up in Newton, and I just like seeing small town communities flourish. So, you know, whatever we can do to create a draw and really bring that, you know, one thing leads to another, we can do that. So, yeah.
Can you share any of your plans for that space?
We're kind of open right now as far as what we're going to do and see what kind of interest we have for the space. Getting the apartment and everything behind there rented and that, and revitalizing that front building. We're still trying to decide what we want to do. My wife has some nice plans for the exterior. It's to what extent we'll do that, but yeah. So right now, as far as the use of the space, it's pretty open. So there's.
So the back part's still for rent?
It is currently. We've got somebody that we're vetting right now, but yeah, it is still currently
residential. Yeah, it's an apartment.
Yeah, it's a nice apartment. 2-bedroom, spacious 2-bedroom.
Well, thank you again, everyone. This is your email address. I will make sure to include you in the invite, and then I do have the list of people that have already committed. So this is I think a very good group, and thank you for your time. Look forward to engaging and providing assistance as I can as a representative of the city and moving downtown Goddard forward. So hope you have a great rest of the afternoon. Thank you.